And we're back. We're back, and my on screen avatar is not opening its mouth again. What is wrong with you, my on screen avatar? Well, it's an easy fix. To fix it, all I have to do is click on lip sync and click on it again. And 0 kbps. Oh my goodness, my bitrate is not very stable right now. I'm not even sure if I'm live. I'm just going to assume that I'm live. Oh my goodness. Why are you like that? Again, guys, my internet connection is not very stable. I have no idea what's happening here. But it's usually the indicator is just red. But now it's not only red, it went down to 0, the actual bitrate. It went down to 0. 0 is bad. Anyway, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. And welcome to my live stream. Yeah. And, well, the thumbnail is Avowed Hates You. If you don't know what Avowed is Obsidian's upcoming role-playing game. And it hates you. Yeah. Don't take it from me. Take it from the art director. The game, according to the art director, was made to piss off chuds. I have no idea what chuds mean, but it's a word being used around to, I guess, describe the general gaming audience. Again, this is mind-blowing. I still don't understand why game developers are antagonizing their customers. It is the most absurd thing ever. You are selling a product. A game is a product. You are selling a product, or you are trying to sell a product to your customer, but instead of encouraging them to buy your product, you are antagonizing them. They are insulting their customers. I guess the reason why they are very confident is because the game is gonna be released in Game Pass. And when a game is in Game Pass, well, Microsoft already paid for it, which means they're not really losing money. Microsoft or Xbox will lose money, I guess, but the studio, I don't think the studio will be affected very much if the game is, or if the game did not sell well outside of Game Pass. When it comes to Avowed, I don't think it will suffer the same catastrophe or tragedy as Dragon Age The Veilguard. Again, because of Game Pass. Maybe that's why the game developers are, again, as I've said, maybe that's the reason why they are very confident with their continued attacks on their customers. But then again, are we their customer? I don't think so because according to them, the game is an LGBTQ plus game. And as someone who is not an LGBTQ plus member, it tells me that the game is not for me. I was excited for the game, even though I don't buy games on release. I tend to wait for a sale. Guess what? Even if they release the game and also at the same time have a 90% sales or off or discount, I'm not gonna buy this game. No, 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 no. I'm going to stick with Skyrim. I'll just install a new mod and the entire thing is fresh again. That is the beauty of Skyrim. You can just install a DLC type mod and it's a brand new game. You don't like the graphics because it's dated? Go find and download a graphics mod and the game looks brand new. What I'm saying is I'm just not gonna support or buy games from game developers that hates me. It just makes sense. Why would you give money to someone who hates you? And with that said, I'm going to start with this one from Smash JT, official Avowed account immediately blocks anyone. As you can see, I haven't seen this video. I'm going to watch this video for the first time. Again, it's from Smash JT.
Obsidian Entertainment has turned into the very definition of being surrounded by rakes and not knowing that they should probably stop stepping around. Now they are officially, from their own professional account, blocking any kind of dissent, any kind of questions, anyone daring to ask them.
It just shows that they don't effing care. They know,
shutting them down, banning them.
They know the game is gonna release in Game Pass, which means a lot of people or folks are going to at least give it a try. I believe Game Pass has like 25 million
on Twitter
subscribers. I need to check. I could be wrong.
Anybody daring to question not just the game itself and the direction that it's been going and the art director Matt Hansen and how unhinged that dude's been, but also if there's just some options with the pronouns that maybe they could take a second look at because they're not a big fan of that being in their games. Doesn't matter. They're blocking you straight up because they look at you as opposition or thinking you're a troll.
I did a quick internet search and according to the result, there are 34 million subscribers.
It's almost like Obsidian doesn't even care because they
to Game Pass. That is a lot of people. Imagine if just 10 million of those tried the game.
Obsidian Entertainment is basically
because they won't have to buy the game
because they don't want
if you already have a Game Pass account, an active one, you're subscribed, then you don't have to buy the game anymore. You can just download it and play it.
By controversy
that is the reason why they are, very confident with what they're doing, because they don't need to actually sell the game because
this guy has
Microsoft already paid them.
He wants to insert in the games and doesn't care about
for the game.
Feedback. Doesn't care about what people actually want. He just wants to put his agenda and ideology into the game and screw you for questioning any.
Dragon Age, the Veilguard doesn't or didn't have
social media
the same protection.
and
That's
alienating
why when
and
it
ridiculing
failed,
your customer
it failed
rather than
hard.
addressing any genuine concerns. I've been getting DMs left and right and also seeing it for myself with my own eyes
I
on
guess what you can do if you already have a Game Pass and it's active, maybe you paid for a whole year,
mild criticisms or even
you could just avoid playing
this
it
kind of approach has
so
gotten
that
gamers
you
out there
won't be
asking
added to
the
the
obvious question of
metrics
if the
or
evil
the
people over at
statistics.
Obsidian on Avowed have collectively lost their mind when it comes to trying to market and sell this game to people. The censorship accusations have gained some big time traction on a multitude of users sharing their respective experiences across the board, being blocked by the official Avowed account. For instance, Justin NC, a prospective buyer, tweeted, "They blocked me and half the comment section for mentioning pronouns. They have openly alienated and attacked gamers. They deserve to flop." King Yora responded, "They blocked you for exposing pronouns? Just wow." And Justin replied, "Not just me. Anyone who even mentions pronouns to them gets banned. They banned
Again, pronouns are stupid. Personal pronouns are
these
stupid
are the people, like, yeah, sure, there are some
because
obviously going to
you
get,
already have
but these are the people following the
a
account
proper name.
asking questions about the game they plan on picking up,
And because pronouns is part of speech,
daring to question any of the
making it personal just makes
came together.
communication harder
Multiple
and
other
confusing.
gamers shared their experience saying, "Yeah, I got blocked only for saying that I was not going to try.
Also, it's discrimination.
I don't like the direction you're going and
It discriminates against other part of speech.
you." Ron Ronson
Why limit it to just pronouns?
on
What
Avowed
about verbs?
announcement
What about
these
adjectives?
are very mild posts getting
There are like what, 12
they
parts
were
of speech?
down and absolutely ignoring the
Why only limit it to pronouns?
another Concord coming up. And Humble Katsu posted an image saying, "The Avowed subreddits
Or was it 8?
because I had the audacity to say that the devs attacking the community is never a good sign, and that the art director seems to have no issue tanking this game's potential." And Lavish God said LL RIP and showing a message that he was banned from the subreddit permanently from Avowed because he had the
Again, they are doing this or they can do this because they know they don't need,
my
they
excitement,
don't really need
which is true.
to sell copies of the game.
Excitement for a lot of people,
It's in Game Pass.
myself, that was one
So
looking forward to playing this, but because of him and how he's handled
there you go. That's why they can do this.
no longer have any interest in it as well. Learning the Law on Twitter brought up a very interesting situation where he
So what can you do
Knights of the Old
to
Republic
get back at them since
compared to a
the game is in Game Pass? Well, you could cancel your subscription
Obsidian.
or
He stated, "What happened?
not play the game in even if it's in Game Pass. Again, once if you have a Game Pass account, then all you have to do once the game is released is download it and play.
This is a woman.
There is no barrier to entry.
With Avowed, if you do the same thing with that character, you can't tell if that's a dude or a chick, which has to make you wonder.
Well, I guess you can say the monthly subscription is barrier to entry.
Making the character so androgynous. Learning the Law followed up with, "The funny thing is that you can barely see the face of Visas, yet you can tell right away
Also, what you can do is not
female characters,
support any games.
Tyson or Sylvester."
The people working on this one
Yes, LOL, and posts a screenshot
in the future,
of him being blocked.
if they make other games
Something that a
and they start their own gaming studios or companies,
ever do.
and they make games that are not in Game Pass,
That's abhorrent. Obviously, you gotta block that kind of
there you go. You don't have to
blocking spree.
you don't have to
Daring to
buy any of their shit.
call your game out for what you're doing, it really doesn't resonate well with the entire.
Just don't give them your money.
Same and
Stop giving money to those who hate you.
by Avowed.
It doesn't make sense.
Stop there. Going over to Steam pages and talking about the subreddit banning people for daring to question the game. User LSD2122 said, "Wrote that I'm fine with woke stuff as long as I'm not fed like foie gras duck. Permaban," with a bunch of hearts, saying, "I dislike woke. I hate, though, when woke agenda
There you go. The guy is fine and woke.
might be playing."
That's why you don't give them an inch.
Fair. care. Like, these are just
because they don't care.
brought up by people in the community that are being brushed away and then banned and blocked by the creators of Avowed themselves. Sundancer replied, there was a post asking nicely about Obsidian's stance on the matter with Hansen. Just a simple question, even polite without insults. It was viewed like 200 times and then disappeared without a trace. That alone tells you everything you need to know.
There is no point in being polite with these people because, again, they don't care. They are a bunch of assholes.
And it's like, what are we doing at this point? Why is the official account stepping in and trying to shut people down? Because it's always going to blow back a million times further, blowing up right in your face. And apparently, Obsidian Entertainment either doesn't know this, or they do, and they're still willingly pushing forward with the agenda of trying to silence people. It tells us that this company is unwilling to tolerate any dissent, no matter how respectfully presented it is. By removing posts and banning users, Obsidian is far more concerned with trying to control a narrative than building good.
Why are you being respectful when they don't respect you? Again, respect is earned. It's not given. They're not willing to respect you, so why give them respect?
And it's no wonder that they keep finding themselves in a position that the game will most certainly flop at this rate. Nobody I know wants to proactively play this game. Not to mention, it doesn't look like the greatest thing in the world. They're not doing themselves any favors by attacking
again, the game is in Game Pass.
Be a prospective buyer of the game. In an industry where community engagement is key to a game's success.
And I just checked, there are 34 million subscribers. I'm not sure if that is the updated number.
Blocking, banning, and silencing any kind of feedback alienates the very audience that the company should be trying to sell their games to in the first place. Gamers already have way too many choices, and to just say, okay, I guess I don't have to worry about playing or buying Avowed. That's one less thing for me to worry about. Now I can focus on other games or go to my backlog of an endless amount of games that I'd rather play instead. And the irony in all this is that the people are being silenced are not even radicals or trolls. They're overwhelmingly, from what I've seen, genuine prospective customers voicing valid criticisms or concerns regarding specifically the...
There is no point in voicing your concern because they don't care.
Community that feedback, even constructive,
they don't care about you.
Welcome to them as a company, and that kind of disdain for a player base can only lead to one obvious outcome: failure. And they're going to have no one to blame but themselves when that ultimately happens. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay
Oh, look at that. We have a Mutahar drama from Rev says Desu. I'm going to check this out. I stopped watching Mutahar because the guy likes to criticize, but when he gets criticized, he folds. But in this case, I'm not watching Mutahar. I'm watching Rev says Desu.
Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So it appears that the Sonichu medallion has claimed another soul. Only a few months after putting on this cursed trinket, Mutahar finds himself in some pretty serious controversy involving this now privated video he uploaded yesterday titled Post Nux Clarity, which, regardless of your thoughts about the...
I have no idea what this drama is all about. This is my first time hearing about this.
Disavowing Nux Taku in every shape and form, saying that they are no longer friends and they no longer have a business relationship, and any bridge between the two has been completely burned down. Now, this tweet right here really kind of sums up the relevant context you need to know before we get into the video. Of course, there are some re-uploads that we're going to look at today. So this says, Nux goes extreme anti-lolly to cater to people.
There's a lot of content creators or influencers or YouTubers that are popular that may look...
Because he considers him...
What do you call this?
Yeah, so that's pretty much how everything went. So about 2 years ago, Nux
Good
made a bunch
in
of
the surface,
some offhand remarks in videos.
but deep inside, they're actually assholes as well.
This is, of course, something that was very hypocritical. I made a video calling all of that out, saying, hey, you have dozens of videos with cropped lolicon in your thumbnail. You've also shown this sort of content to other content creators and reacted to it yourself. And he would make this response video to what I said. And you can see the like-dislike ratio. It is easily the hardest dislike ratio you'll probably find on any video he has uploaded in his entire YouTube career because it was just awful. I felt no need to make a video response to this because he essentially cooked himself. Okay, he went after me, hypocritically slandering me over things, also failing to address pretty much any point I made, focusing only on throwing insults at me. Also, he made up some wild claims that my wife was digging for dirt, asking his friends for dirt on him, which is really crazy. On top of that, he also said he could have deplatformed me if he uploaded this on his main Nuxtaku channel. Obviously, that didn't go over very well, and that's kind of the Nux side of this whole lolly controversy. And now we have the side with Mudahar here. And about 2 years ago, Mudahar made several tweets about the topic, saying that if you watch that stuff, you need to be on a watch list, that it can harm real people, and that it's illegal content and all this stuff. And of course, his disgust on the topic is totally valid. That's something very understandable and that he's allowed to have, but that doesn't justify spreading misinformation and fear-mongering over the topic, and also being a hypocrite about it as well, as we'll see in this video. And on top of
Well, to be honest, everyone
that, admitted to regularly
has,
cartel execution videos.
I guess, varying levels of hypocrisy in themselves.
I don't really know if I want to be virtue signaled about fictional content by a guy who watches people get tortured and brutally.
Remember, we are all sinners. There is none that is righteous.
And I held out a lot of copium. I made the mistake of having some
If you say you are righteous, then
Budo's content for many years, and I know he's had good takes on other things, so I
I'll
thought
just laugh at you.
he would have a
No one is righteous. I'm not righteous.
subject and maybe just even ignore it.
Everyone is sinner. Everyone made or did something bad. Everyone has lied.
Talk about some hentai, which seems fitting because if there was tags applied to this situation, it would be mind break, because this topic has mind broken Mudahar to the point where he's saying some pretty unhinged crazy stuff, including making
It's just that
40-minute video about this topic where he is, of course,
there are, I guess you can say,
So, as
varying levels
but there are re-uploads all over the
to
We're going to start with this clip,
how bad you are.
obviously giving kind of a general intro to what we're going to talk about today.
But to go back to it, Nuxtaku is a former collaborator, a former friend of mine, and I mean really a former friend of mine, because some of the stuff that I've seen over here is disgusting enough that I really can't continue a friendship, and I really can't, again, excuse some of my behavior watching some of this content as well.
So, he makes it very clear from the intro that he is largely disavowing Nuxtaku thanks to the fictional content he has consumed and the fictional content he has shared with other content creators, including Mudahar himself. And this is supposed to be another angle of the video where Mudahar is taking accountability for his role in consuming some of this content he believes is illegal. So this is where there's a bit of a longer clip. This goes on for about a minute, but I think it's really important to listen to because he sets up some wild standards that end up basically being self-sabotage.
I guess the problem with having
When I was working
or with most
was being anti-local.
online avatars or on-screen avatars
He was anti this,
is that many are
but the kind of stuff that
many look kind of young, even though they're not meant
it kind of
to be young. It's just that
high, and the reality
it's the style of the art itself.
take the name that Nee Summer has had and put it into my anime list, which I realistically
For example, if you look at Rev says Desus avatar,
average
on-screen avatar,
right there. I'm not going to play the whole semantics. Oh, is this
you'd think
like I don't even
it's a
18 or on the cusp of
it's an underage looking avatar.
when you you scroll down,
but
So that's really all we got to hear
it's not.
at this point.
Supposedly.
He makes several standards here, right? So he's talking about this
Well, if you look at my on-screen avatar, well,
lolicon by his own definition, and that makes it
it's obviously
about high school.
meant to be an adult, but because of the style,
Believe that you should care
maybe I should start using my
to chastise.
Second Life
Okay, he makes it clear that he's kind of just making up his
avatar instead.
lolly as he goes, but still feels strong enough to use that created definition to cancel.
Although I really like this on-screen avatar that I'm using.
If you want a correct definition, I don't care what some Twitter spurg says.
Just to make it clear, my on-screen avatar is not,
It is a petite body type.
it's not underage. That is a man,
Cute aesthetics. It has nothing to
a
do
full-grown adult man.
minds with a lot of misinformation on the topic. And if you want proof of that, here's like the easiest
It
example.
looks young though.
Rebecca from Cyberpunk. She's in her 20s. She is unequivocally a lolly. No one can question that. That is literally what she is. Even Studio Trigger, one of the most legendary anime studios out there, categorizes her as that term. This is not
Here's the thing.
Twitter is
My wife is like
information that this very
the same age as me. We're both in our 50s,
into something you
and
recognize outrage about
she looks very young.
cancel people and what have you.
The only giveaway is that
This definition about
our hair are like
even when
mostly white now, or gray as they say, because of
it doesn't
age.
matter, it's still falling under this lolicon definition of his because of the school uniforms and the school setting, which is not just pretty a reach to say the least, but also it's incredible self-sabotage. I mean, one of the worst cases of self-sabotage I have seen in quite some time, because in this video that Nux showed, of course, there was those high school students, and his outrage over that would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that his self-described favorite hentai is Dropout. And if you can't see it from the image from that content, she is wearing a high school uniform, because the entire premise of this hentai is high school students in a high school setting. And I could scroll to the right because there's tags included in this image, and I will just have to censor my whole screen. Here's some of the tags, right? There's a high school girl uniform, high school boy uniform. There's R wording in this. There's chloroform. There's snuff. There's other tags like vomit and scat. Like, to the normie side of the internet, which is probably the type of people who are, you know, in Mudahar's circle, that's a pretty hardcore set of content right there. Okay? And it contains the exact thing that he is canceling Nux for by his own definition. And if you don't trust me, I mean,
I guess you can assume that a high schooler is underage,
it was Dropout. That was the name.
because when I was in high school,
It's like if
I
you're
graduated
smart,
senior high at
chick,
16.
you into like a
I was 16 when I graduated high school,
where like you just get
and my first year of college was I was like 17. Most, well,
it's something worthy of losing a friendship over, a business
I
relationship.
was at the same age as my classmates, so
Sabotage.
we were in college, and I guess you can still say we are underage because we were 17 when we went to college. We finished high school at 16.
Assumes these cartel execution videos.
I guess it depends on what information they, the creators put out there.
lol fuck Muda. Dude's been a hypocrite.
I would assume that a high schooler is underage. But if you say that,
This statement as well.
no, this is
Morbid curiosity.
the modern high school, where the students are like 18 and 19.
For years,
Can you really disagree with that?
war.
If they present the age, if they explicitly say that the ages are
level of
18 or above 18 or above 19.
curiosity towards this
Again, the problem is the art style.
sort of view, right? He's trying to investigate this topic, which is odd because it's like you're not law enforcement. It doesn't give you the right to consume any.
For example, if you watch Dragon Ball, Bulma is like what?
Could be used for a lot of different
40, 50?
online. And again, at the end of the day, we're
Chi-Chi is like
this, right?
the same age.
I think people want to be virtual.
Gohan and Videl,
Guy who
they're like in the 20s and 30s, I think.
real life people
But the art style makes them look
horrific
like
ways. Okay, I think it's
high schoolers.
that complicated. But the next clip we're gonna watch involves some of the blind.
It's a tricky thing. It's very tricky.
Let's listen to what he had to say.
It's just best to avoid it
Creators that I collaborate with, and nobody really
and not discuss it online. Just maybe keep it to yourself.
account. And if it's one thing that you'll see,
Keep it to yourself.
videos, there'll be like a red bar. I don't have a red bar under basically any of these videos. I think the only video I have an actual red bar in this is probably I showed YouTubers the most cultured clips, which I actually browsed through just for the sake of, again, this video.
You can easily remove the red bar. My goodness, come on, Mutahar. It doesn't involve rocket science to not display the red bar.
Nuxtaku. So yeah,
I've watched like many videos and completed the video, and then after I came back,
associated with
there are times when YouTube will not display the red bar, making it look like I haven't watched them.
mutuals on social media with a lot of people who are content creators. I might have seen like one or two videos or a small snippet of what they do. I am not sitting there watching every single video they upload. That's just the reality. There's not infinite hours in the day to do stuff like that. So yeah, some things could slip through the cracks here and there. But Nuxtaku to Mutahar is not just some Twitter mutual or a random guy they kind of barely know, right? This is someone who he was friends with. This is someone who he collabed with. It wasn't just one video that he was reacting to that hentai with. There was many videos. I can count at least a handful of collab videos they did on Nuxtaku's main channel, and also they ran a podcast together. So you didn't even look at this guy's channel. It's not like you had to watch the videos. Just scroll through the thumbnails and you would see stuff left and right that would probably upset someone with the sort of disgust they have for certain fictional content. On top of that, I do find it kind of hard to believe that he hasn't been exposed to some of these controversies, especially someone who was friends with Nuxtaku, whether it's some of the thumbnail drama and all that stuff and the hypocrisy on the subject of Lolly, but also some of his bigger controversies like the Taiga controversy, for example, which would be covered in this video. He would actually mention what happened with Taiga as a way to show that Nux isn't a very good person, and there's really a lot to say here. If you don't know the Bungo Taiga situation, I'll put a link to one of my videos in the description if you want to check out that whole thing. But he is now bringing this up in this video, acting like this is the first he's ever heard of the Nux and Taiga controversy.
To go over a bit of their controversy, in summer 2022, Taiga was accused of grooming. They made a twit longer where they reviewed the allegations and called them false. Later, an updated Google Doc was created that had evidence that not only were these allegations fake, they were deliberately created by ex-moderators and spread by a stalker of Taiga. So again, this is the Google Doc in question. Now again, I have no idea about this controversy whatsoever. I'm only bringing this up because it was actually a big point of contention for someone like Nux.
So he goes on to talk about the situation a bit, and if you don't know, very briefly, Nux called Taiga a predator based on allegations he had heard at the time. Those allegations were debunked by an independent investigator later on, and Nux made a pinned comment basically saying he would possibly readdress this whole situation if he was found innocent, which Taiga was, but he never really addressed it fully for many, many years. And over the course of basically 2 full years, this was an ongoing controversy that caused a lot of damage to the reputation of Taiga unfairly, and Nux still to this day really hasn't fully acknowledged. He's tried to apologize over the summer when this flared up again, but he really didn't do a very good job of it, at least to most people. But this is something that, like I said, been going on for 2 years consistently. A lot of people look at the Vishojo drama and that controversy with Nux, and they think that's the biggest thing he's faced. Maybe in some ways, I think it was the most explosive controversy he was a part of. But
So basically, the drama is that
it's taken
they're all accusing themselves
flares up like it did over the summer. So I have a hard time believing
of
Mutahar has never
misconduct.
until now.
What kind of misconduct?
Since the first attempt
Maybe misconduct involving minors or something.
after he initially called Taiga a predator in a collab video with Moist Critical, he did that on the Some Ordinary podcast. He referred to making mistakes with that situation. It was very vague. But again, how do you not know this ever happened? I mean, it's either just putting on blinders, like he said, he's been putting on blinders to people he's friends with, or the worst possibility is that he's only bringing this up now to disparage Nux, which shows he doesn't really care about the situation, if that's the truth. If he really did know about this beforehand, but if he didn't, at the very least, he's been having
Also, they're just doing this for the views, honestly.
that Nux has been a part of. And this whole question of bringing up things during this video,
And, well,
right? Like, why even bring up any
folks are, or people are curious beings.
flare up of people calling out
So, drama like this are,
Nux and some of the collabs he did with him, thanks to
I guess you can say, always
blowing up. He made
entertaining to watch.
caring what
It's entertaining because
So one of the things shared was
they're basically
ordinary gamers and
taking themselves down.
scored call. So when I see this kind of stuff, it blows me, and obviously it flashbangs
And at the end of the day,
talk about it, and really
no one comes out on top.
is what it's about
Everyone
of the perspective.
comes out
Accountability where it
bad.
needs to be fucking taken.
They're all bad in the end.
this was the intro of the video, but he makes it clear that this post is what drove him into this, and I do probably believe that is the truth. I think this is what made him or motivated him to make this video. I think it's pretty clear. It got under his skin, and a lot of other content creators have been coming for him, even calling Mutahar a predator and all these things for the content he was exposed to while reacting.
So the other guy is a predator and Mutahar is a predator, which
Was this video for
makes them what? Both predators?
entertainment of his audience?
See, I told you, no one comes out on top.
Among
Everyone goes down.
and really like commentary channels, generally speaking, and I think it's the latter. And I think
Here in my country, there's a word for that. It's crab mentality. Oh, you're trying to take me down. Going to take you down as well.
you wouldn't have made this video. When you get to a point where you're making
We are both going down.
informing your audience of a situation or anything like that, when it becomes like an airing out of personal grievances,
Again, the only reason why they're, nothing is really going to happen
Mutahar was
at the end of this. No one will be arrested.
there was a heavy dislike.
No one will go to jail.
Clear that people were just impressed by a
They have a solid fan base.
fictional content.
Their fan base won't really care unless, of course, it's something really egregious,
Scattered here with all
or bad.
this was the post on Reddit if you're curious. But this is the conclusion of the video. So let's listen to his final thoughts and kind of how he wraps up everything.
They know they're going to get the views, and in the internet, in YouTube,
beings, we all make fuck ups. I think choosing how
it's all about the views.
that goes along
It's engagement farming. Well, if it's
basically
in YouTube, if it's on X, it's in engagement farming.
the podcast shutting down
But I guess in YouTube, it's farming views.
and really just sort of
But I think engagement is also very important
my side of the
in YouTube. Oh my goodness, I got disconnected.
Obviously, he harps on taking accountability a lot during this video, and then the video goes private. So kind of like, what was the point of all of this? I'm not quite sure, but he would make a community post on YouTube saying this: regarding the last video about Nux, while I can't be a friend after some of the things that have resurfaced, I do feel I did do an overreaction that stemmed from being emotional on the reaction from the community on Reddit. Again, paying attention to anything Reddit says is a huge mistake. But he continues on saying, I've been watching my content for the past few weeks and realized my channel has slipped into a slop channel. I've made more drama-related content over...
Okay, so I'm back. I got disconnected.
Engaging and informative content. That includes producing videos that don't release daily.
Again, my internet connection is very unstable. It goes up and down.
Quality and not quantity. I don't do this for a job, so honestly, going out of my way to constantly chase trends has done nothing beneficial for me other than...
They always say that now. They always say that.
Take a few days off and reset and produce better content that isn't the latest trends or internet drama, while that produces a good...
They always say that after...
I'll be back with content...
After...
In regards to past...
Going through the drama itself.
Apologize and promise to do better.
When...
the end of the situation and
when it's a very, very simple problem. If you have a beef with someone and you want it to end quickly, just don't respond.
Minutes of
just don't respond.
disappointing content.
Because if you don't respond, the other person won't be able to respond to your response. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry about that.
Giving a second chance, but that's up to every individual person, and yeah, feel free.
Well, fortunately, I don't watch Mutahar anymore.
Mutahar x Nuxtaku set a drama here. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below.
I just hope that Rev says Desu won't get exposed for something in the future.
I don't know what's going to happen with...
It's weird because, as I've said earlier, they keep exposing themselves. My goodness. Fortunately for them, they have a solid fan base already, and fandom is once you have your fans, there are a lot of fans that will fight tooth and nail to defend their I guess idols or something. It's like a cult, you see. It's like a cult. It's like a religion. You already have your following. Unless, of course, you did something really, 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 really despicable. And still, even though there are, personalities out there that did really terrible things, and they didn't really lost their fan base. Sure, the number may have gone down, but there are loyalists. I guess you can call them loyalists. In their minds, their idols didn't do anything wrong because they are perfect. Okay, what is this? It has begun. Nintendo is going for Palworld. Well, this is new. I thought this was happening already. Says here 2 hours ago, so it's new.
With Palworld, but make sure that you have it downloaded on your PC if you're playing the game. You own the game already, right? Because it could be gone on any day.
So Nintendo, they produce good games. They have a popular console, but it doesn't mean the company overall does everything good.
Right?
What?
When September 18th, 2024 hit, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company dropped a legal bomb on the Palworld developer Pocket Pair, basically patent infringement on game mechanics. That happened, but Pocket Pair then went and did something gutsy. Before any of it hit court, they decided, right, this is clearly David versus Goliath. We need to go public with a statement. Here is the statement that they put out. It is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to the game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. And when it all went down, the timing was fascinating. Pocket Pair were actually prepping Palworld's PS5 launch, and Tokyo Game Show was right around the corner. It seemed the perfect time to drop things. The perfect moment, of course, then, for Nintendo to throw in a lawsuit and create chaos everywhere. But it was not enough to stop a crazy successful month for the company, because rather than the expected PS5 reveal at Tokyo Game Show, they shadow dropped it during the PlayStation State of Play presentation. Japan got the game a few days earlier in October, and according to PlayStation's Japan blog, it actually jumped to the top of the downloads.
Holy shit! It beat Dragon Ball Z and Metaphor and Call of Duty? Oh my god.
The likes of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Metaphor ReFantazio, which is impressive. Their numbers are massive, especially in Japan. Now, we've been in a holding pattern ever since. We've been waiting for something to happen, and that is what brings us to today's developments. It's wild, so get ready and sit down. Pocket Pair have revealed that Nintendo filed 3 patents in 2024. Of course, that's after Palworld released, and these patents are all focusing on one specific thing. It's pretty crazy, right?
If that is true, that was so stupid.
Just throw and catch. Now, you might...
But then again, I don't know how the law works in Japan.
The problem is,
So, Palworld got released, and then Nintendo filed patents. And now they're suing Palworld.
Just need to prove that they did it first.
Based on those patents that were filed after Palworld got released.
How fucking... What the hell is going on over there? That's stupid? It's so stupid.
See, it's stupid. But again, to me, or to us, it may be stupid, but we don't know how the legal system works in Japan. Maybe that is totally acceptable in Japan. We don't know.
Behavior. It's not like it's like some random, like, weird, esoteric video game thing. Like, a Pokeball is meant to represent a trap in real life.
Are not the entire arsenal. A patent expert writing for GameIndustry.biz spotted 28 different patents where Nintendo were alleging infringement. And it's frustrating stuff like running about, transporting your character on a monster. But they're only using these 3, and the reason why is simple. Nintendo want to play it smart. These are the ones where they think they can prove that Palworld copied the specific mechanical implementation from Arceus. Now, they've actually found that movement with the US Patent Office is really slow. It actually may not happen over there, but obviously Japan is where both companies are. It's their home turf. Okay, these 3 patents then are Nintendo's weapon. Now for their objective. Let's get into the numbers, because the Nintendo lawsuit against Palworld is not all that it seems. Now, the initial ask is 5 million yen each for the patents from Pocket Pair, payable
they don't want to, because like they can't give them the money, because giving them the money could mean that they're, like, in a lot of cases, giving the money, it's like an implicit assumption of guilt, you know?
Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, which is a grand total of 65,000 USD. That's an absolutely tiny amount of money, especially compared to
makes
Nintendo
a precedent.
Victim,
Exactly.
Colorpool, where basically they ended with a settlement that was worth 30 million and then ongoing licensing fees.
Wow.
Absolutely brutal, which fits. Nintendo's legal team, especially in their home turf, are basically renowned absolute legal assassins. They tend to win.
They have never lost a case, as far as I know, that they have initiated. Nintendo hasn't. And Nintendo initiated this case.
Oh, so they haven't lost?
65 grand is obviously...
It's like Japan back in World War II. They haven't lost a war they got involved in until World War II.
To bury the company in legal fees.
Why? Because they got,
This game really looks like a piece.
Everyone knows what happened.
I wonder how the people that made this game feel about Palworld. Like, I would feel really stupid. I really would. I would feel like a fucking moron.
Look at the patents to understand
Jesus,
how Nintendo have
look at that.
operated here. So yeah, they actually did file these patents after Palworld launch, but they're in fact derived from a December 2021 patent, and they've basically tailored things for this situation. And an IP attorney called Kirk Sigmund spoke to PC Gamer and explained that this is actually standard practice, where companies will have an existing patent, but then they'll refine it to close loopholes. But of course, the timing matters, and in this case, it really does look like Nintendo was preparing their battleground. So here's the brutal part, and well, here's it in Kirk's own words.
Okay.
Your general attorneys cannot do this sort of work. You've got to find specialists. It gets extremely expensive and time consuming, and it can wear a lot of small companies out. It is designed to make you no longer play the game.
This is one thing that's extremely common with any sort of legal proceeding, is that the goal isn't to win, it's to beat you in a war of attrition. Like a good example of this is like,
Maybe Palworld should ask Elon Musk for help.
if you get in a fight with a raccoon, you will probably beat the raccoon. You will be able to kill the raccoon before the raccoon kills you. But man, you are going to get scratched the fuck up. You are going to get cut up. You are going to get fucked around. It's going to be a bad time for you. So it's better to just leave him over there and just let him. He wants to do that. He's going to do that. Rabies? Raccoons don't have rabies innately. Like, that's not how they work. That's not the way their mechanics are.
So in other words, you either give in or you sign yourself up for a legal battle that you don't even know if you can afford. But of course, you probably guess it's not just that. Nintendo's real legal objective here is almost
This
certainly
guy's a
to get an
dumbass, whoever's
injunction.
playing.
This would prevent Palworld from being
Jesus
told whilst
Christ.
it's in breach of those patents. And either way, it's all aimed at sowing chaos. And here's the reason why. Palworld could change the mechanic, right, to no longer be in breach of the patent. That would obviously take game development time, and it would risk player sentiment because they know...
It would also, the thing is too, is that any behavior that they take as a response to this will be viewed as them capitulating in one way or another, or an admission of guilt. So like they're kind of like they're kind of stuck. Throwing balls is illegal now. Well,
My question is Sony going to support or assist the Palworld developers on this fight?
but
That is my curious question.
Pokemon actually copied Dragon Quest. Like if you look at Dragon Quest that predated Pokemon, Pokemon copied the fuck out of them. So I don't want to have and like also all types of innovation, like anything is built, like patents exist to make sure that people can make money off of their products. But at a certain point, when you're using patents to actively suppress innovation in an industry and hurt the consumers, you're effectively having a system that is in place that causes the citizens to lose money and to experience worse products. Why does that system exist? I think that's a very good question.
The game as it is, they like it as
Creative
it is,
entropy?
and
Yeah.
if they just have to come up with a new mechanic to replace catching your pals, well, players may not like that. And the real risk here is time, because they would be incentivized to fix this problem and replace the mechanic as soon as is possible. Now, of course, if you want the mechanic to be good, to be well play tested, you will take your time and get it right. But if you're in breach, if there's an injunction, you can't really afford to do that because it's blocking your game from sale. Or, of course, you could give in, and you could agree to license the patent from Nintendo. But the message, as Kirk puts it, is clear. Quote, for them, this is a massive target they need to declare. Don't do this to us ever again. One could speculate they'd probably do the same thing to any company that came too close to the main line, especially when they perceived it to possibly infringe their IP.
I think that another big component with Palworld 2 is the fact that it damaged Pokemon. I think that it did. I think a lot of people, after they saw Palworld, whatever the next Pokemon open world game is probably going to look like garbage next to Palworld. And that's going to damage the new Pokemon game. Yeah, critical hit. Yeah, exactly, right? So they have to get rid of Palworld to make sure that nobody else can do that.
Kirk said. And this is absolutely Nintendo sending a warning shot across the bow of the entire industry. It is them hitting Pocket Pair right when they are trying to seize their opportunity. And that includes things like, yes, the PlayStation relationship, but also plans that could see their IP be expanded, just like Pokemon was. And I think that is the real thing that Nintendo are worried about here. Palworld is scrappy, right? And I think we all know that it is taking commonly appreciated elements from all over the place and putting them in.
They stole everything from Pokemon. They did. It's obvious. They did. I mean, why are we even talking around it? They did. Like, Anubis is Lucario. Fucking Lugia is Jet Dragon. I mean, like, really, it's obviously stolen from Pokemon. The Pal spheres are obviously Pal Sphere, Pokeball. Like, come on, what are we even talking about? But it's what the fuck? Like, what is this? So it's not a matter of whether they stole it or not. It's a matter of whether they stole it and Nintendo has a right to allow that to happen. And I don't think that they do. I think that they have to let it happen. Because Nintendo has stolen things from other people, and at the end of the day, you can't... The idea of throwing an object at an animal to capture the animal is something that human beings have been doing for thousands of years. No, I don't think you can own that idea. It's ridiculous. Such a ridiculous fucking concept. It's insane.
Into something. And Nintendo are probably realizing, this could be a little bit of a problem, because we've basically sat on top of Pokemon. We've done a pretty bad job, all things considered, Pokemon Company as well, for years and years and years and years. What if somebody else is actually able to fight us by making a better Pokemon-like experience? I think that is why Nintendo are trying to do what they do.
And you're going to see this happen too. There's another game that's coming out that's called Azure Familia. It's a gacha game, so it probably won't have the same reach as Palworld because of the way it's designed. But you're seeing a lot of games that are trying to copy this now. Because I actually think that a game like Pokemon that plays extremely well is something that people want to see. Like, Palworld was kind of like a low-budget version of that. But, like, you know, if you look at that as like Dark Souls... The Elden Ring of that game would be, I think, a generational level game.
I did say there's more than that, and I mentioned Grand Theft Auto. I didn't think Grand Theft Auto would be involved, but kind of is. So this is Nintendo locking things down on their home turf, but it probably won't have that much impact on the broader industry, the global industry, if Nintendo cannot
look how shitty this is. Like, if I guarantee you, I've said this every time I talked about Palworld, I guarantee you that the guys that are working at Nintendo on Pokemon, I bet they're probably playing Palworld and seeing this, and they probably have worse things to say about it than I do. They're probably the ones saying, like, yeah, we need to fire all these fucking retards. Why is it that somebody who had a middle schooler that worked at a gas station, you know, like, why are they doing the art and they're doing better than us? Like, what are we doing? Like, why is this happening? I guarantee you the guys that are working at Nintendo are thinking that. The Switch is underpowered? No, it's the design is ridiculous. Like, look at the way the character moves.
Probably won't have that much impact on the broader industry, the global industry, if Nintendo cannot get the American patent system to agree with them, and at the very least we know that's been a way slower process. But of course the principle here is an important thing, and there's actually a long shot that was proposed by a patent attorney in Nikkei Business. This is absolutely amazing and I love it. They pointed out that while Nintendo's patents for catching monsters in an open field, might have been filed as far back as December 2021 in its, like, you know, first incarnation, well, they may not actually have the first instance of that mechanic. And that's because of this. This, everybody, is Pokemon Go in Grand Theft Auto 5, done 8 years ago in 2016. Now, remember how precedents in the actual market...
What? There is Pokemon Go in GTA Online?
Those patents. Well, that's
amazing.
Business. This would mean that because of this mod for GTA, there is an established usage that basically would mean Nintendo shouldn't have been able to file their patent because they didn't create the mechanics, because it was inspired by Pokemon Go, but it was different, and it was there in a GTA mod. It was there in the...
There's no way that goes. There's no way. I mean, anything that's created by fans that's derivative of the original intellectual property is proactively owned by the people who created the original intellectual property. Yeah, no, there's no way. This would be funny, but no. Dota?
market.
Here's the difference between Dota. Dota is something, Dota was a completely new type of design, and it wasn't, like, this would basically be, if you wanted to use Dota as an example, this would be like Rockstar suing Nintendo. But Rockstar isn't the one suing Nintendo.
And that means that Pokemon and guns may save the game with Pokemon and guns.
I don't believe that. There's no
insane.
way.
But okay.
There's no way.
A wild story. And to be honest with you, I really hope Nintendo lose here. Patenting game mechanics is risky business. And one of the worst examples we saw of that was the Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War series. They're pretty good games.
Nemesis
the second
system.
one quite a bit less because they tried to ruin that with monetization. But the amazing thing was the Nemesis system. The problem is, the Nemesis system was patented such that if you do something with a Nemesis system-like thing, and look, if it's an indie, sure, they'll probably not notice. But maybe if it gets noticed enough, Warner Brothers games will just be able to take you to court.
Yep.
And I don't think any of us can really, afford to battle with Warner Brothers as bloody lawyers. Yeah, this stuff sucks. Good luck to them. That's it for this video. And for more news, check this one out next.
Man, I do really hope that this happens. I hope that Palworld wins, because I think that the biggest issue right now is companies that are trying, like, this is going to be a big issue that's happening probably in the next 10 years. It's going to be companies that are trying to...
But Asmon,
I'm trying to think of a way to explain
Pokemon is just protecting their IP.
And they're trying to create, like, private property on an island. And they're trying to claim as much land for themselves so new developers can't make games with certain mechanics. So they're trying to effectively take big ideas and then make them exclusive to this kind of a game so they can make it to where other people in the space aren't able to compete with them. And they're doing it through basically an exploit of game mechanics. Craftopia, also from Pocket Pair, came out before Arceus. I don't even think that, in my opinion, I think that Pokemon can easily argue that they've had this system from the 90s, right? I mean, and I feel like, because it's, again, like, the patent was referring to a 3D environment. There are no, like, there's 3D environments, I guess, right? But, like, the old Pokemon games had a simulated 3D environment as well. I feel like if it was based off of the inception of the idea, it probably would go from before Arceus. That's what I'm assuming. But I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. Pokemon Coliseum was 3D? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Pokemon Coliseum was 3D, and that was in, like, the 90s. Yeah, you're right about that. And that'd be, like, 20 years? Yeah, I don't know. But I do think that the people that work at Nintendo pretty much know what they're doing, but I do really, really, really hope they lose. Because I think it sets a terrible precedent for gaming. And the precedent and what that does is it creates a world where people who are trying to make new video games are limited by so many different existing claimed land that they can't...
Yeah, it's gonna stifle creativity.
And I think it's fundamental
Because,
player or a consumer.
you know, if you are a game developer and you're starting out,
I think this is pure gatekeeping. Or
now you're worried whether the mechanic that you're thinking
charge to generate profit
is already owned by
trying to effectively
one of the big corporations.
to
Oh, walking in the game?
mechanics, because
What?
obviously,
It's owned by Blizzard?
and so all companies are going
So
to
we have to pay a license to Blizzard
possible
for our characters just to walk in the 3D world? Imagine something like that. So insane, right?
right? You shouldn't be able to copyright a mechanic. I think that it's very nuanced, but generally I agree with that. And I think that the big problem is that a lot of video games, these are things that simulate real life interactions. Like a nemesis system, like the word nemesis was not invented with Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor. Nemesis is a word that's been around for a really, really long time. And the idea of it has been around for a really long time. So the idea that
I think something like that exists in Champions Online. Well, you have your nemesis.
because it's a core human experience that
So, are they saying that it's now owned by Warner Brothers? Is Champions Online gonna get sued?
I don't know. So throwing a fishing net is illegal by Pokemon?
Yeah, I could be wrong though, because it's been a while since I last played Champions Online. But I do know if you reach a certain level, you'll get your own nemesis.
Absolutely.
I guess maybe it's a different system.
Yeah, exactly. This should come back to the court of public opinion. If people see a company stealing an idea, they won't buy the worst one. They'll buy the better one. I think that they will. I think there's a lot more that's on the table versus just worse and better. Like you have price, brand, brand accessibility, things like that.
Anyway, guys, yeah, unfortunately my internet connection sucks today. My bandwidth indicator is still red, although the bitrate is fine. Earlier, my bitrate went down to 0, and then a few minutes ago, or maybe 20 minutes ago, I actually got disconnected. OBS got disconnected, maybe because it wasn't receiving any data, or it wasn't able to transfer data to the internet. Anyway, guys, that's it for this hour. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and if you did, please consider following the channel. If you're watching in YouTube or Twitch, you can subscribe to my channel YouTube or follow the channel in Twitch. But I do suggest, recommend, ask. I do ask of you guys to go to Rumble and follow my channel there. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye for now.